What made Siversk stand out was not just that Ukrainian forces struck effectively, but that every movement appeared to arrive exactly when it needed to.
They said Ukraine pulled back. Russia celebrated, flags were raised. Victory headlines flooded the news. But what followed at Siversk rewrote the rules of modern warfare. On December 23, 2025, Ukraine seemed to abandon a city it had defended for years, yet control never truly changed hands. This wasn't a loss, it was intent. A city reshaped into a trap. A battlefield reduced to numbers. Drones replacing divisions, distance replacing desperation. In Siversk, Russian forces stepped into ruins that offered no cover, no safety, and no way out. What looked like a triumph became a burden. A city that costs more than it gives. Before we break it all down, make sure you subscribe, because what Ukraine did here will be studied for generations. The city that became a cemetery. On December 23, 2025, Ukraine's general staff released what appeared to be grim news. Ukrainian units were pulling back from Siversk, a strategic town in Donetsk Oblast that had resisted for 3.5 years. Russia instantly declared success. Russian state outlets celebrated. Another Ukrainian stronghold they claimed had fallen. But this is where the story changes. The Ukrainian military statement contained a critical detail that many people overlooked. The city remains under the fire control of our troops. That isn't empty military language, it's a signal, a warning. It means Ukraine can still strike anything, anywhere inside that city whenever it chooses. And it has, without pause. Consider what Siversk looks like now. After months of relentless urban fighting, it's no longer a city. It's a field of debris, broken buildings, and wide-open streets. There is no cover, no working infrastructure, no secure structures to hide inside. Russian troops entering Siversk aren't taking a reward. They're walking into what military analysts describe as a kill zone, an area so fully covered by hostile fire that survival becomes a matter of chance, not skill. The conveyor belt to oblivion Ukrainian sources, including drone operators positioned on the ground, describe what's unfolding in Siversk with unsettling clarity. Russian assault units are stepping onto a conveyor belt that carries them straight into oblivion. This is how the trap unfolds. First, worn-down Russian troops move into the ruins of Siversk, convinced the fight is over. They need rest. They need supplies. They need time to secure their foothold. But the city lies fully exposed to Ukrainian observation posts, positioned on higher ground and across surrounding terrain. Second, Ukraine's drone networks, the same systems that have reshaped this war, remain constantly overhead. These aren't limited to surveillance platforms. They include kamikaze drones, FPV racing drones adapted to carry explosives, and fiber optic cable-guided drones that can't be jammed. They detect every movement. A supply truck attempting to move ammunition, soldiers clustering inside a basement, a command post being assembled. Third, those coordinates reach Ukrainian artillery units within seconds. Strikes arrive minutes later. Then more drones return to evaluate the damage and search for survivors. The process runs continuously, day and night. Russian forces can't move vehicles because Ukrainian drones eliminate them on exposed roads. They can't establish solid defensive positions because the structures are already reduced to rubble. They can't withdraw easily either, because doing so means crossing those same kill zones once again. One Ukrainian spokesperson summed it up bluntly. Russian forces are trying to supply positions in Siversk mainly using drones because nothing else can get through. When supplies must be delivered by small commercial drones, logistics have already collapsed. The bigger picture. A new kind of warfare. What makes Siversk so important isn't only what's unfolding there. It's what it reveals about how this war has changed. Ukraine has been intentionally building these drone-driven kill zones across several parts of the front line. Near Kupiansk, for instance, Ukrainian forces created a zone so effective that it eliminates up to 88% of Russian units before they ever reach Ukrainian positions. Drones block Russian infantry from operating within 1 kilometer of the front line and stop vehicles from moving within 20 to 25 kilometers. This is strategic withdrawal executed correctly. Not a rushed pullback, but a deliberate choice that trades short-term ground for long-term Russian losses. Every meter of Siversk was given to the enemy at a high price, as Ukraine's general staff stated, and that cost continues to grow. Ukraine's military has been clear about its goal: wear down Russian forces, break their logistics, and impose constant losses without committing to expensive direct battles. Why sacrifice your own troops defending a ruined city when you can allow the enemy to take it and then dismantle them methodically from a distance? Russia's impossible situation. Here is the nightmare facing Russian commanders. Siversk was meant to be a gateway towards Sloviansk and Kramatorsk, the last major Ukrainian-held cities in Donetsk Oblast. Instead of becoming a launch point for further advances, Siversk has turned into a costly drain on resources. Russia is now compelled to send troops and supplies to hold a ruined city that offers little strategic value and cannot be effectively defended. At the same time, Ukrainian strikes are not limited to Siversk itself. They are hitting the supply routes that feed it. Convoys, ammunition storage sites, staging areas where Russian units assemble before moving into the city. Military analyst Vikram Mittal describes this as Russia courting a logistics crisis. Russian forces are operating along stretched supply lines during winter when fuel usage rises and harsh conditions complicate resupply. Ukrainian drone attacks have transformed these routes into gauntlets, where trucks carrying fuel and ammunition, the most volatile and exposed targets, are deliberately tracked and destroyed. And the pressure on Russia continues to grow. This is unfolding across multiple fronts at the same time. The more territory Russia claims to take, the more ground it must supply and defend, forcing its forces to spread even thinner. What this means? Going forward, the situation in Siversk points to a wider Ukrainian approach that military analysts describe as strategic neutralization, turning Russian advances into actions that have no real operational value, even when territory is taken. Russia can point to areas it controls on a map, but if those areas can't be used, defended, or developed, that control means very little. Ukraine is wagering that it can maintain this strategy longer than Russia can maintain its offensives. The calculation is harsh but straightforward. Ukrainian drones cost thousands of dollars. Russian armored vehicles cost millions. Ukrainian operators strike from protected positions. Russian troops are left exposed in open terrain. Ukraine is defending, Russia is advancing directly into kill zones. This won't bring the war to an immediate end, but it is reshaping the equation. Every Russian success like Siversk becomes a burden that drains manpower and resources without offering real operational gains. At the same time, Ukraine preserves its forces, refines its methods, and extends these kill zones across larger sections of the front line. The bottom line: Siversk appears to be a Russian win on paper. Russian troops hold the city, the Russian flag flies over it, but in reality it has become exactly what Ukraine intended: a trap where worn-down Russian forces are steadily eliminated while Ukraine strikes from relative safety. This is modern warfare without illusion. No dramatic tank duels, no sweeping charges, just drones, artillery, calculations, and the hard logic of attrition. Ukraine pulled back from Siversk not because it lacked the ability to hold it, but because the cost-benefit analysis favored allowing Russia to take the ruins, and then turning those ruins into a liability. The real question isn't whether Russia took Siversk, it's how many more victories like this Russia can afford. Because at Siversk, Ukraine showed that in 21st century warfare, sometimes the most effective way to win is to give your opponent exactly what they believe they want, and then make them pay for it day after day until the cost becomes impossible to bear.